Welcome to EnergizeUtv. This is a space for conscious conversation, grounded leadership, and embodied truth. I'm Angel Marie. Each episode delivers fresh perspectives, expert insight, and actionable strategies to help viewers elevate their energy, expand their potential, and live with greater purpose and vitality. This is not just a TV episode, it is a movement to awaken the world, raise collective consciousness, and inspire positive change. That's exactly what today is about, is reclaiming, turning that heartbreak into personal power. It's a practice. It is learning how to come back to center, even when life feels heavy. And that's why I'm so grateful for our conversation with Nicole Allison today. Nicole brings a unique perspective because she comes from a strong corporate and hospitality background. She's a former CFA with a degree in hotel management, and she understands high performance environments, life transitions, and the emotional resilience it takes to rebuild from the inside out. This is such an important conversation because heartbreak can feel like an ending, yet with the right support, it can become a doorway into the new chapter, strength, clarity, and personal power. Nicole, before we dive in, take a moment to introduce yourself in your own words, and who you are and what brought you into supporting women through heartbreak and life transitions.
Well, first of all, Angel Marie, thank you so much for inviting me and having me on the show. This place is so beautiful here at the Wrigley Mansion. I feel like it's like fairy tale land.
Totally, right? I mean, it's like...
Yeah, like I could just sit outside and feel, you know what I mean. So a little bit about me is I've lived in Scottsdale, Arizona for the past 13 years, originally from Oregon. So I'm a small town girl here in this beautiful, almost year-round, warm place. I love it. Some of the things I like to do for fun, I love to take advantage of the hikes here, especially Sedona, which is just 2 hours away.
Yeah.
One of the most magical places. And then I like hitting the golfing range. Although I don't really golf games, I'd like to, but I don't. And earlier you said, tell me about the world. Yeah, it's pretty much Nicole's world, right? So okay. Thank you for having
fabulous. Me. Yeah, I love to golf too. It's just been a while. So welcome. I really appreciate it. And let's just dive in because, you know, when someone feels like they're crumbling inside, most people don't see it. It can be a family member. It can be your spouse, and you don't always know. But, you know, what's the first grounded action that you want to give to everybody to take away that they can do when they're feeling that way inside?
When someone is feeling that overwhelming heaviness, that anxiety, that crumbling that you were talking about, I always tell people that is awareness when you're feeling it.
Yeah.
And just to be able to take a step back and name what's going on, maybe even journal it, maybe call a friend and tell them about it. It's literally like, it's almost like admitting that you're feeling what you're feeling, because so many people just stuff everything down inside because they've learned that survival is the way to go.
Yeah.
It can be very debilitating.
And you know what I feel that happens a lot is someone will say, I didn't want to bug the person, or I don't want to, you know, you're busy. And I get that one a lot. Oh, Angel, you're so busy. And it's like, but they're not putting themselves as, I'm important too. And it's not always dumping on somebody else. Because sometimes I get that too. I didn't want to call and just dump on you. Well, that's not it. Because what you're looking for is, let's move on. And that's what you're saying is about the heartbreak can shake your identity also.
Absolutely.
And how do women rebuild that self-worth when they feel like they've lost themselves completely?
Well, I want to touch on what you were saying about women feeling like they're dumping on their friends or reaching out to someone who's busy. And one thing I recommend is communicating and letting someone know, I need to talk. I have things to let off, like that I need to get off of my shoulders. Is there a time? Is there a space that you could provide or make for me to talk to you? And what I found is that settles the person down that's going through it, and they know that there's going to be an outlet. And then the person on the other end can either decline or they can make space and say, you know what, I've got time between this time. And that's probably one of the first steps that I let women know when they're going through things is don't be afraid to ask, but respect people's time. And then they will embrace you and they'll hold space for you. Because a lot of times you're right. We feel like we're an annoyance.
Yeah.
We're a burden. Yeah. And that makes the heartbreak even worse.
Yeah. Because then we feel alone. We feel stuck. Yeah. Oh, I love that one. So go ahead and answer that about identifying. Like what is a grounded way that they can identify what they're going through?
Well, I mean, if they're feeling anxiety or they're feeling unsettled or they're not feeling themselves or depressed, I mean, those are all red flags that are indicating that something is off and something needs to be addressed. And so when someone feels that way, it's not normal. It's not normal just to wake up every day and feel like your heart is falling apart or things are crumbling. And sometimes they don't even know what it is that's happening because, again, we go back to they haven't really talked about it. But I find with women, we hold the world on our shoulders.
So true. We really do.
And a lot of us are moms and we're running jobs and we're taking care of everybody because we're nurturers by nature. And so the last person that we nurture is ourselves. And so just taking time and space for grounding is a huge thing. And even just journaling, writing down how you're feeling.
That's beautiful.
Is a great place to start in identifying what's going on.
Beautiful. I love the journaling. And that can be 2 words or 3 words. Just do it. And heartbreak, and the thing is too, is heartbreak can feel like the ending of everything too. Yet we both know that, it's really a doorway. And understanding that doorway, what is possible on the other side. And I think that's what you do with your clients when you see them for coaching. How do you show that glimpse that it's going to be okay?
Well, I'm glad you asked that, Angel, because a lot of times when clients come to me, they're feeling very ashamed. They're feeling guilty. They're feeling almost embarrassed to admit that they've gotten to the place they've gotten. And one of the first steps is to ask them, what do you want your life to look like a year from now? What do you want to be feeling? What is, like, if someone, Angel, what does it look like to be in your happy place? And then once they tell me what that looks like in a year from now, no matter how impossible it seems, no matter how far out it seems, that's where we start and we begin. And then it's that we're going to take one step at a time to get to that place. And I find that the women really relax. And I think it's because they hear it, but a lot of times they don't think. They're just like, I just can't even imagine being there. But what if I told you, you will be? And so it's instant confidence that they haven't heard anyone say in a long time.
Beautiful. And I really want to make sure that everyone really knows too that this is for men too. I've seen this work with top CEOs to identify where they're at, to take a moment. So it is for everyone to look at. And, I really love this research that was done at this trauma psychology. And it showed that the body can continue to carry the stress response. Now think about how much stress. And remember, right? Your body doesn't know this stress or this stress. It's the same stress in your body, and it continues to hold that. And that emotion event has, even if it's past, whatever it is, and that heartbreak or that, we're talking a heartbreak, but there's many different ways of this, and that emotion, and it is stuck in the physical.
Yes, and one of the reasons why people stay so stuck in the physical is because they're not just reliving the past, but they're re-talking about it over and over and over again, but they're not making any forward motion. And until we start making forward motion and we start replacing our life with new experiences, new choices, new outcomes, we don't get further away from the problem. And that is just such a key.
I love that, because we really don't get further away. That's really a good one. It's something to consider, to really look at. And this kind of goes into this research about the effect of labeling, has showed that simple naming what you feel. And we kind of already talked about that, but yet really naming how you feel can reduce the intention, because that energy of that, and remember I'm all about energy, can reduce the intensity of the emotional distress. And it also supports what? That awareness for that first reclaiming of yourself. I love that because there's a study on it.
Yeah, and I think that reclaiming yourself is, we use this terminology going back to ourselves. And sometimes, especially if someone's had some trauma from a very young age, they don't know what self to go back to. So often we're creating a new identity in a more healed version, which is where I talk about the new experiences, the new positives that we bring into our life, where we get to feel that, embrace that. And again, like I said, get further away from the problem. Yeah. And I found that if people don't start stepping into the future, they will always stay in the past.
What's interesting about that is because we look at it, the reticular brain, and I don't think I'm saying it right.
Reticular.
Thank you. And in that function, we stay in that loop.
Mm-hmm.
So we go, well, where am I going? Am I going over here to how I used to? But we don't know what that is because we're in this loop until we create. And that's where a good coach, a good friend, something can help us to shift it. But it takes the effort. It takes the action.
It does. We got to get off the hamster wheel. It's you hear it all the time, right? It's get off the hamster wheel. Well, I'll get on a call and I've been this person, okay? So I am not sitting here saying that I am above this, because the whole reason I'm doing this work is because I've been the person on going round and round and round and round. But until we choose to jump off, it will be our story for the rest of our life. And one thing with coaching or therapy or anybody to hold you accountable is they're saying, okay, sure, this is happening, but what can you do different? How can you change it? What outcome do you want? And so it's more that accountability to making a choice to make a different decision.
Yeah. To make a different choice,
yes.
Choosing differently, looking at things, the perception of it. Oh, I love this. Yes.
And that's the power. You were talking earlier how heartbreak, it can turn into power. That's the power. There's almost nothing more powerful than looking at yourself in the mirror and saying, oh my gosh, I have the ability to control my triggers. I have the ability to identify when I'm starting to fall, and I know how to get myself out. That, to me, I feel like I'm a superhero sometimes with myself, because I'm like, wow, when did you become so powerful? 6 years ago, I would have,
Yes, and a lot of corporate people are just they're so driven, they're so, and it's just again and again, and even entrepreneurs, I see that in entrepreneurs, we're just so focused that we forget about taking those times. Yeah. And in your coaching work, one of the things that I'd like to know is, what is one of the most common patterns that you see that's happening there?
Making the same repetitive decisions, digging holes and filling voids. And a lot of the clients I deal with, a lot of the clients I help are doing that through dating or trying to find love to fill the voids, because many of the clients I work with, they're coming out of marriages, they're coming out of relationships, they've been in toxic relationships, and so they're going back out and they're trying to find a person to make them feel better. And that is a huge crush and setback.
Yeah, it really is, because it's all and then it's the self-esteem, it's the self-worth, and it's like, what am I doing? Where am I going? It's all of that. Yeah. And how do you give something to them, like you had a client come in and they were here, and then the result came to here. What did you see that really helped, just like one person?
Well, one of my clients recently, when she came to me, she was coming out of a marriage and felt very lost. And one of the things that happened was that she lost a relationship with her children through the separation from her husband. And I just received a message the other day about how she is rekindling a relationship with both of her kids, and her son is going to be the date in a wedding that she's going to. And when I first started talking to her, neither child was talking to her, and one of them actually had her blocked. And so we've been working on response, not reacting, understanding they have their processing, and to sometimes just self-sacrifice the ego.
Can we just talk a little bit about the ego and how that kind of comes into?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So when I say self-sacrifice the ego, that means that you take a step back from having to be right and having to be heard.
Yeah. And mama bears love that one, and papa bears. Okay, I'm gonna do it. Papa bears too. But it really is innate with all of us. We want to be right. And it's just how we were hardwired. So I love that one.
And we want to prove, right? So if something happened, like let's just say we were called out for something and we want to prove ourselves right, but the person on the other end, it doesn't matter what we did affected their life and hurt them. All we can really do is say, hey, I'm sorry that my behavior affected you. I would like to move forward. And that is pushing the ego to the side.
I love that. I love that. And, you know, this has been such a meaningful conversation. I thank you so much for the work that you do and the way that you support people, not just women, but how you support people through this, really this tender life transition. It really is. And I know that so many of the viewers and listeners are going to get something really deep from you. So could you tell us what you're going to give for that free gift?
So the free gift is a heart healing roadmap. It just maps out the steps that we were talking about earlier. Like you got to heal it, feel it, to heal it, and the identity. So it sort of walks you around in a map, has a visual, and then it takes the steps into chronological order and gives you an idea of where to start and maybe where to start, looking within.
Ooh, I like that. Ooh, I'm going to get that one too. So thank you so much. And, as we wrap up now, do you have any final words or what you'd like to leave everyone?
Well, Angel Marie, I am just so grateful that you asked me to be on the show. And I remember meeting you for the first time at the Elevate conference. And I just felt your energy from across the room. I didn't know who you were, but you were someone I had to introduce myself to. And I'm living in here I am today at this beautiful Wrigley Mansion, taking amazing photos, making memories, making another memory in my future that is just broadening my spirit. So thank you so much for having me on the show. I'm beyond honored.
Oh, you are so welcome. And I remember that because you did come out of nowhere. It was like, I want to meet you. And you know what? Beautiful, beautiful energy. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Here's Nicole's contact information. So reach out. She has so many beautiful gifts to offer. And don't leave without getting her free gift right here. Just scan the QR code and you'll receive it. You know what I want to say is I so appreciate each and every one of you, the viewers and listeners. You helped raise the energy of the whole planet today. And I see you and I celebrate you. And if you would like to experience more of me beyond this show, I would love to gift you with a trial of my energy reset session. These are gentle Tai Chi inspired movement practices designed to help you feel more calm, more clear, and more grounded. So go ahead and scan this right now, and I'd love to see you online for this soon. So also, if you would like to go even deeper, these books hold the foundation of the teaching you experienced here on EnergizeUtv. They are available for you as well. Now, next week, Annie Gerber joins me to explore the human design as a tool for clarity, self-trust, and grounded decision-making. Here's her spotlight moment right now.
Hello, beautiful souls. I'm Annie Gerber, the founder of the In-Body Experience. I'm so honored to be featured on EnergizeUtv, this powerful space for joy and conscious awakening. Angel, thank you so much for being a radiant example of light and for holding this space for all of us to shine. In our episode, we will be talking about energetic embodiment, the dance between human design and Tantra, and what that means for us in our everyday life. My tip for today is something that I personally practice every single day, and it's simply to pause and check in with your body. So place one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly, and feel your feet on the ground. And just notice where you're holding tension. Is it in your shoulders, your belly, even your booty? And can you soften into those spaces just a little bit more? And always remember to breathe. Thank you, Angel, for this sacred opportunity. I can't wait for you all to experience the full episode. Let's come home to the body where clarity, joy, and abundance already live.
Annie, that was awesome. Remember to check in with yourself. That was so awesome. So mark your calendar for next week. We're going to love this conversation. Remember, your energy is the music of your life. So keep it tuned, keep it flowing, and keep it shining bright. I'll be right here every Thursday at 11 o'clock Pacific, bringing you wisdom, energy, and golden nuggets to lift you higher. This isn't just a show. It's a movement. It's a global impact. Until next time, keep igniting your energy, activating your joy and always elevating your abundance.
Before you go, take a moment and ask yourself one simple question. What am I taking with me from this conversation? I'm Angel Marie, and this is EnergizeUtv, where we help you live with greater purpose and vitality.